balanced encounter settings. No. The most dangerous thing you can do is go overland on Wilderness Hexcrawl. Dungeons, you as the DM set up the progression that you want, right? I have fallen away from the classic. The deeper you go, the greater the challenge, so you knew the boundaries. So starting with like Barrel Maze, it was a linear dungeon, so there was no giveaway that you walked into a higher level section of the dungeon, right? There are areas 1, 2, 3, right? And they're more challenging. The thing is, you can get secret accesses into these areas and you don't know what you're stepping into because you're not going down X amount of levels. A lot of players will go, we're second level, we shouldn't be on the third or fourth level, and they can count the stairs down. With Barrel Maze, you wander into it, right? I like that. I like people getting in over top of their head. Now, in the core book and in the later modules, the mega dungeons that Gillespie put out, he does levels 1, 2, 3, levels 4, 5, 6, high or low level, high level for the random monsters. I'm not a fan, but on every one of those charts, when you divide it like that, there is a bump to go to the higher monsters, the higher chart. I like that. The other bonus of having lower level dungeons that as your players get higher and they start just romping on it is it will always backfire on them. Right? Have a whole party of third level characters and they had a 6th level NPC who met his death this week because they got slack. If you're not telling me you are tapping ahead of you on this particular section of corridor, I'm not going to give you any chance to detect the pit trap. I describe it, and then when you say I go down that hall, you describe what you're doing that time. There is no unwritten piece of standard operating procedures. That's automating your character for the dungeon master to play your character, and I'm not fucking doing that. It's your job. Pay attention. Be immersed. That's your job. Okay? Lazy fucks. When you allow a party who's above level in a lower level dungeon, they will get lax. And they got to an encounter, and I've been a little easygoing on some of the pit traps, allowing the wizard with Featherfall to just cast instead of making a roll or initiative. Because as you're doing exploration, you are going forward slowly, prepared. So, give them a nudge. It also makes sure that there's a burned up slot in that wizard's head for Featherfall at all times. Because the pit traps in these mega dungeons always have a 1 in 6 or 1 in 4 in the case of Highfell. 5 and no, it's a D6. 5 and 6 is a moon well, which is a 300-foot drop. Whereas in Barrel Maze, it's a 1 in 8 for a bottomless pit. These dudes were, and I, as a DM, allow players to roll their fate. So if there is a random pit content thing, whoever triggers it rolls it. I need you to roll me a D6. Okay, roll me a D6 again. Why? For depth. Oh, yeah. So when people's higher level players get cocky, they will get sloppy. So the lower level mobs will eventually, sometimes, more likely than not, overwhelm them as they push forward past their resources. Or they rush into a room, it's just zombies. our trap, us pulling the creatures out, didn't work. Must be a reason, right? There's a reason the zombies didn't follow you. There's some voice taunting you down the hall. You rush into the room. You trigger the pit trap. What? Oh, they knew the pit trap was there. They just had to get you to run across it. I'm still looking for an extra body on my Monday game. We're down to 3 players plus henchmen, which I think is very doable. But the players, not all players like running henchmen. It's best to have an extra body. Yeah, I'm not a fan of making sure everything's balanced, because that's not how it works. If you're fighting an even fight as a military man, your tactics suck. You should have the advantage. 3-1, 5-1. Shooting people in the back in a horrible, horrible crossfire where they never had a chance to even return fire. That's your preferred method of attack, right? You get raised telling me that you get raised being told to fight a fair fight, and then you get trained to shoot people in the back. That's how the world works. And if you've been in enough fights at a bar or you run your mouth a lot when you're younger, you will find out the guy who throws the first punch usually wins. And if you don't see it coming, odds are he's going to win. That's how it goes. So, in your games, and I'm not much for making simulations like that. It's a fantasy game. So, I always make sure that my charts can bump up to higher levels to where a wandering monster could be terrifying. And there's always one monster on my personal list that's above the party's level anyway. That's dangerous. That's the one thing they want to avoid. Where that is the prepared arm patrol, or the ochre jelly, or the thing that eats the residents of the dungeon. That's the boogeyman in the dark. Like the goblins are terrified of something nearby as well. And it may not just be a piece. It might be something as part of that ecosystem that's eating goblins. And then later on, maybe eating ogres. If the ogres are scared of the thing in the shadows, you need to ask yourself, what is eating the ogres? But I like having that bump on the chart that there will be a larger weird creature that is roaming the landscape and occasionally pops in here to have himself a snack out of the orc tribe or whatever's in there. Play with it. And then alter your wandering monster charts. If the party lets an amber golem out of a room and they evade it, well, guess what? Now there's an amber golem running around the dungeon. Do you think it's going to go back to its room? This is its goal is to attack the intruder. So once moved from the room somehow, that's going to happen. Now I got one section. They're in one guys were in a dungeon. It's basically just skeletons. It was skeletons and a dude animating skeletons fighting another dude who animates zombies. So they destroyed all the skeletons and they webbed some barrel guardians. And rather than fight them, they ran away. And they're like, you know what? We're not fighting the constructs. We'll just leave them. They're webbed. We get a turn of movement. We'll go off. That was smart. Now, that also means that now there are 2 barrel guardians as part of the wandering monsters. So, skeletons. And now, boop, due to the PC's actions, something else. The party keeps going back to a dungeon and eliminating things. You have to eliminate the wandering monsters off that chart. And then you open it up to what would fill that vacuum. Right? What would fill that vacuum? The rival faction. So you would lower the number of skeletons, increase the number of zombies, maintain the low chance for the duo of barrel guardians, and if anything goes down into the dungeon that they don't know of. They've left several moon doors open. That means things can fly on. Now, I could put some flying creatures on that who've accessed the dungeon, who are okay flying in the dark. So you have a minimal chance to fight something like a Sturge or something. Now, always keep updating that. If you're playing a living dungeon, a living campaign, these are little things that you just need to pay attention to. If your wandering monster chart doesn't change, then that means your wandering monster chart's static, and whatever they do to the dungeon doesn't affect it. Should affect it. Right. Some cheap, lazy advice from a cheap old man, okay? I've been playing the game for a while. And I know some people don't like hearing that. My 40 years! Shut the fuck up. God, that's why I can't stand doing that under 40. Was I like that? Dear Lord, I hope not. Oh, fuck. Ugh. Disgusting. Don't worry about balancing your calendars. Let your parties stumble into easy dungeons sometimes. They will get lax, and sometimes that will backfire. It's also a perfect opportunity for your morally great characters to pick up minions or bully humanoids into being the gods, torchbearers, or whatever, right? Opportunity. Encourage the lunacy at your table. But you guys make up the game sometimes. But adjust the rumor chart, adjust the wandering monster chart to reflect the player's actions. That way, when it does pop up, they know, because they are receiving the consequences of their actions, that they do in fact affect the world around them, especially on those little ecosystems that they are injecting themselves into and wrecking. So, cool. So I throw it out there. I probably rambled off topic. I'm good for that. Whatever. Game well. Game often. Have a good day.